stupid? Who's the body? You knocking at my door very hard like you put something in here. Who's the body? Hi everybody, we are back at the house. We're not just inside, we are outside. Today I'm taking you with me to Dwellings Design Studio for some final touches on the furniture package. But we're here for good reason. Jimmy from Crafted by Wood is coming back because we need to do some final edits on the design for the kitchen. I want to show you what's going on around the house. I need your help. We have a situation. I need your help with the yard, our paving solution. I'll get into it. But of course, you know, Bajan Renovation Magazine is in Massy Stores. If you haven't gotten your copy as yet, please do. It answers many of the questions that you guys have been asking about property. And outside of that, I think it's a pretty good read. It answers many of those questions you've asked over the past year. And for those of you who have gotten it, I'm glad that you are satisfied with your purchase. So we have a full one for you. I'm Kelly Johnally, this is Henry, and this is Bajan Renovation. So before we take you all around the house and show you what's going on here, we actually started the day at Dwellings. Now you may know, or I'll just remind you, that the furniture package from this house was chosen last year, and everything is coming from Dwellings. We would have had a meeting, several meetings actually with their team, where they would have come down here, done the measurements, presented style boards, we would have gone in for a consultation, and we would have chosen the pieces that we like. I like to call that my nice things era. Now, I know joke's on me, because at the time that I would have selected the furniture, paid the deposits, let's just say the timeline for this project is a little longer than I would have told them. So part of the reason for the meeting today is that we are actually closer to completion, which means they now have to ready the items from their warehouse. Secondly, some of the items that I had initially chosen, which would have been ordered just ahead of installation, are no longer available. So they wanted to present some other options to me to see if I wanted to choose from the inventory that was there, or if I wanted them to go back and order the items. So in order for the items to be here for when I'm ready to move in at the latter half of summer, they need to order them now. So it was a quick meeting. I met with Carrie Ann, who I adore and I've known for quite a while through the Dwellings team. She would have made some pre-selections, but it did give us some time to go around, take a look at the floor, also see what items were new, to ask if I still definitely want them. There were a few items that were special ordered. She did confirm that those items that I absolutely had to have, my dining table, that it was here. But a few little things that changed. For example, things like throw cushions. She wanted to know that now that the ceiling is higher, do I still want to go with the mirrors? Seeing that we technically visually have a little more space to play with, it allows us to go a little higher and a little bigger with the mirrors. She also wanted to firm up some times to come in where they could come and remeasure. Yes, like Jimmy, who you will see a little later in the show, they would have come in and done some measurements, but they came in pretty early. So again, to make sure that everything fits, the configurations of the furniture go well with the configurations of the house, they're going to come back soon to do that. But you could take a little look around with me to see some of the items that caught my eye and what they have in store, because you might also be snazing out your space. So your questions about the doors. Now the exterior doors, that would be the double door at the front and the one that leads out to the backyard. Those came from Barbados Steelworks. The interior doors, those came from Blades and Williams. Now if you're saying, how come you went one place for one place for the other? Well, one, I like to shop around. Two, it so happened that when I was shopping around, both retailers seem to have had very big sales. So one was well stocked with exterior options and one was well stocked with interior options. But both are a good place to check. So these interior doors came from Blades. So just a little insight. I wanted something that had a frosted glass for the bathroom. And I know you might be thinking, oh my gosh, where's the bathroom? Who gonna see you? Who gonna see me? This is not the roadside. I live in here with my child by myself. But also, you might not be able to pick it up from the camera. This space is very tight and I didn't want anything else to box in the space. I can go in with a film just to make the, I think the word is opacity, to make the glass a little darker, right? Just so you don't see the silhouette. This door is 28 inches wide, and initially what I wanted to have was a barn door that just slides across so you didn't have to have the opening. But I don't know if you all remember, we actually had to extend this part of the wall. The wall actually went up to right here. So yes, this was literally the doorway, which even by the standards of a small door is too small. So the last piece of looking down that took place in this house was actually this piece of wall here, just so we could fit a 28-inch door in. So once we reclaimed this piece of wall, needless to say, that was the end of my barn door experience. The hardware, as you can see, is black. The hardware, I got this from Blades and Williams, and it will also be on the front doors as well. We're going to be moving into lighting. Well, actually, we have moved into lighting. You may have gotten a glimpse of a visit that we had at the house where the team from Caribbean LED was here. They came to do the lighting assessment for the house, and one of the challenges that we now have, because the roof is so high, I need to be careful, or should I say I need a little guidance in terms of how to choose the lighting. Obviously there is lighting, there is electricals that have been run to the roof, but now you need lighting that can drop, and it needs to be able to drop on chains to a point that it gives the light to the space that I needed to give the light to. So they came in to do a consultation just to see what the needs of the property are, and we had a good chat. So in the coming weeks you will see the lights, but one of the things that I did let them know is that this black finish is something that I would like to repeat through the lighting. Personally, in a small space, I don't like when the look and feel of the house changes from room to room. If that's your cup of tea, no issue there, but I like a place to feel cohesive, so which is why you're going to see a repetition of the finishes. You're also going to see a repetition of the lighting. One of the things I had told him is that I want the lights to come from a family, so I don't want a silver light in here and a gold light in here and a bejeweled light in here. All these lights need to look like they're friends with each other and that they came from the same household. Now the bathroom. I apologize if it's a little dark and a little echoey, but that's what we're working with right now. The last time we were here, I think they were digging for the new plumbing. To be honest, when I had done the initial budget for the house, we didn't factor in the plumbing for here, but as work was being done and as the plumber came, he said, look, mistress, because you know at this stage your name is mistress, these pipes are old. Even if you don't change them now, you're going to need to change them in a few years. Do you want them done now? And the answer was yes, because you're not going digging up my tiles in a couple of years. That's right. So you can see now that our tiles are down. We haven't grouted in here as yet, but that's a small thing. And also the tiling of the shower area has begun. Now the reason it was not finished is because somebody was sent to get tile strips about 3 weeks ago, and she only went and got them recently. So that's why the tile didn't finish. But you can take a peep at the expensive tiles sorry, you can take a peep at the very expensive tiles that I bought for in here. The process has started, and while you can't see the mixer up as yet, the mixer that I bought from Platinum Imports is also black. So again, the finishes are repeating. A question was asked, couldn't you have rejigged the bathroom to better utilize the space? That is, maybe removing this wall here, repositioning the toilet. Listen, with enough money and enough time, you can do anything. I personally, particularly as it's one bathroom in the house and it is a shared space, I very much like the idea of just having the option of having the toilet area closed off. You never know that someone might not just stick their hand and take up something. I personally like the division, just a matter of taste, but also at the time when the suggestion was to rejig the space, we were already out of our demolition era, and you already know who was not going to lick down nothing else. Now I need you guys to be very brave, okay? Because I'm going to show you something that you don't normally see. We have not spent a lot of time in the yard for two reasons. One, the yard really for a while was the storage area for a lot of the materials that were going into the house. So naturally, we're not going to go and broadcast that. But those materials are now in the house and we need to start working on the yard. The yard is in very bad shape, very, very bad shape, as is the apartment. I'm not worried about the apartment right now. Believe me, the fix on the apartment is going to be relatively quick. But I need your help with this yard. Now, here is what happened. Here is the predicament. I always wanted to have interlocking pavers going around the property. It is similar to the ones that would be in my driveways at the villages at Coverley. If you've never been close up to the houses, but you've been in the common areas, those interlocking pavers that you see in the common area where they have all of the restaurants, that is what I always envisioned going from the front of the house all the way around the side and covering the entire backyard. I'm not interested in planting no bush. I just wanted a nice surface going all around the property. I think they look great. The place will look polished and finished and chef's kiss. Anywho, I called the people that do them, and the people came very quickly, very professionally, and measured and sent their quote. The quote for getting the pavers for the house is $40,000. Once again, for dramatic effect, the cost of getting the pavers for the house is $40,000. Now, everybody's idea of a lot or a little is different. I am not telling people what to sell their things for, nor am I fighting up for anything. I did not have that price point in mind when I was saying I was going to go and do the yard. Honestly, for some reason, probably not based on anything, I was thinking, look, $15,000-$20,000 to get the yard in shape. At the moment, I do not have $40,000 for the yard, and the truth is, if I have $40,000 in hand, I probably would need to put it into my business. So against that backdrop, please feel free to leave in the comments, send pictures in the DMs, blow up my phone. I need some paving solutions for this yard that I can afford. But before we get to the yard, there is some good news. This area, which really was a bit of a stopgap for the whole house, is the area that will be designated for the laundry. I think if we can look at the original images of the house, of course, you know, this was the garage, and there was some little concrete thing that was here. I don't know if the original owner had it for plants. I don't know what. I don't know if it was a decorative feature. Needless to say, we have removed it, and this entire area now would be where we have put the plumbing for the stackable washing machine unit, and we also have, you could see the plumbing fixtures for what will be the sink. We will have a canopy here. Obviously, if you're doing laundry, you don't necessarily want to be in the sun. It will not be enclosed, but the canopy will extend far enough to cover the appliances. And we will be able to run a short line back here, which is obviously out of view from the road. And this is the laundry area. The laundry area is also what is called a shared laundry, meaning it will also serve the apartment. Now, whether this apartment ever goes up for rent, whether it remains just for me for my office, or just where I want to go up and down and skate with my cats, which I don't have. The point is, they won't have their own separate laundry facilities, so this has been designed in a way that both properties can comfortably use it. Now to the backyard. So this, beloved, is what we are dealing with, and it is part of what contributed to the cost. We have to level off this surface. Do I need it to be perfectly level? No, but it needs to at least be smooth, even if there is an incline. As you can see, there ain't no grass growing out here. I am not trying to go and bring no dirt in here from NCC to backfill, nothing. I just want my pavers, right? That's all I really want. And I am open to solutions to help me get these pavers or to work around them. This is the grease trap. They're going to cast the lid for this. So initially, when they were doing the quote for the pavers, they were speaking about bringing up the level of the yard to meet the top of the grease trap, which aesthetically probably would be best. But as you could see with the incline or the decline, that's a lot of backfill here. We're not doing that. We need a solution for this. I have shared my inspiration photos of what my backyard is supposed to look like. We are very far from it. Will this stop me from moving into the house during summer? No, it will not, but it will prevent me from sleeping well at night, okay? I would like this problem solved. Please send any options or ideas or pictures or inspo. I don't care where you find them. I need to find a way to deal with this. Please keep in mind that this surface needs to be treated for the whole property. So remember, this goes all the way around to the side, so that if someone wanted to enter the apartment, they can't come in through my front door. They will be accessing the property from the side. So we need to go all the way around with whatever we're putting on the surface. And it's also what I want to have running at the front of the house where the cars will park. Please and thank you. A little note on the apartment. Now, I know it looks terrible, because it is, but this was actually one of the reasons why I wanted this property. Don't be distracted by this overhang or any of the debris around it. This is a part of choosing a fixer. You have to be able to see past cosmetic work to what the potential of the building is. I was very pleased that this was already here, because I know I couldn't come and build it. What we are going to do before I move in is the demolition. So the demolition really is just going to be taking off the roof and clearing out obviously what is going on in here and knocking off an interior wall on the inside, so that when they clean the yard and they clean the property, they take all of the debris with them. In terms of coming back in to finish the work, naturally this is an out-of-pocket expense, so there's no great urgency for me to finish the apartment. But I could tell you, as soon as I finish the yard, I'll get on to that. But for all intents and purposes, when the construction team moves out, they will be taking they'll be taking the roof and everything with them, so that we don't have to do that again when I am in the house. Rashak, I don't know if you could indulge us, right, by showing our viewers what the kitchen originally looked like. Now, I remember when I first toured this house, the kitchen was so small that it was clear that the fridge was not in the kitchen. Right. Right? So, and that's characteristic of older Barbadian homes. You know, we add on and we put on. So there was no provision for the fridge. So we knew, at least when we had our chat, that we had to extend it in some way. So I have followed the instructions. We have put in our wall. We have our electrical sockets. You can see where our plumbing is going. And I know that you gave me a preliminary design, which we're still very much satisfied with. And now that the wall is in and the tiles are down, because that was another thing you tell me, make sure the tiles are down and grouted. Right. What happens now, Jimmy? Because the people would like to see their kitchen that they're helping to pay for.
Right. So now that you're at this stage, the next step for me to do is to take our measurements. Again. Precise measurements. Now these is just to confirm that what we did in render is that this is exactly what is there. The render will now match this footprint.
To scale properly.
And then we start manufacturing.
Okay, so what timeline? I know you gave me a hint of when. What timeline are we working with now for this? Because even though the house is not painted, I'm realizing that we're close to done.
Yeah.
That we're close to done.
So generally a kitchen could take us 2 weeks to manufacture and install.
Manufacture and install.
Yeah,
okay.
but the start date is what I gotta.
Yes.
Once I secure the start date, you're gonna say, well, Kelly, yes, I reschedule this start date for you, 2 weeks. The type of materials we're using the melamine for the interior carcasses, and the doors will be painted.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The only thing we need to review is, you say that Dwellings had mentioned something about the countertop height.
Yes. So when I had initially gone to them, we chose 2-bar stools, and we would have put them in the rendering and stuff.
Right.
But they wanted to be clear now that we are, I guess you could say, on the home stretch, and they're pulling the furniture.
Right.
Is it a bar height counter or a counter height? Because they have both options, and then making sure that they send the right one.
All right. So what I can do for Kelly is when I check the render, I can send 2 renders for her. One matching the original, which will be just a countertop height island.
Yes.
Coming here. Or what somebody do is at the countertop island height, they incorporate a bar height.
Yes.
If that is something you would want.
I personally don't mind.
Right.
I think simply because we're working with so much vertical space now,
Right.
the kitchen could almost go up. If we want to, we could actually carry it up. But they were just simply asking because fortunately they had the stools in both heights.
Right.
And they asked, and I was like, for some reason I think this is a counter height. We didn't discuss anything about a bar, but if you think it's gonna look good.
Well, I can send you the renders. Pros and cons. Pros and cons.
Oh, we got pros and cons.
Good.
Go ahead.
So we got an island at countertop height flowing right through.
Yes.
It's one elevation, right? Which means when you come in, it's all one elevation.
Correct.
If we come here to step up for your bar height, there's pros and cons to that. One of the pros to having that step up is that you're not gonna see clutter on the countertop when you come in.
Okay.
Right? And also things like access point plugs. You can have plugs like where that high section is. You can have your plugs.
That's true.
You see, so I can do the renders and send to you,
Okay.
let you share it with the viewers.
And then, so it almost feels like it gives you a little more kitchen.
It's like more kitchen, you know.
It gives you a little more kitchen.
Yeah,
I like what you just said, that you can now, because it comes up a bit, the plugs and stuff can...
and people wouldn't see, it blocks some of that view of your kitchen.
Yeah, all the little bits and pieces.
You know, so that adds like a little partition type thing if you have any clutter here. You know, let's do the render. Let's see how it look. Maybe the viewers could give their input
and see
on the two options.
I like that. I like that little insight though. I didn't think about that, and especially as I know the chairs are available in both heights, it don't really make a difference.
Right. So,
you have a preference?
Well, I like the one elevation for the purpose is when you're working or. Like if 2 people working on either side preparing something. Got you. There's not that obstacle.
Okay.
You understand? Just for that, because this is acting as an island too.
Okay.
So sometimes you might be doing something, let me say you're all doing sandwiches for a charity or something, and you got people in here. If you have that bar height, you're pushing everyone in there. So that way, say there's pros and cons to it.
All right. Well, okay. I can tell you now why I'm leaning towards the bar height.
Right.
There will never be any group of people coming here to make sandwiches. Right?
Good.
I will never be the person asked to bake nothing for the church picnic. You ain't got worry. I know my limitations and people seem to know them as well. I'm very good at ordering food though. I'm very good at ordering food. I'm very good at entertaining. I do believe that just the visual element of a bar is something that I would like to make.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, we ain't got, don't worry. You're not ever going to see 15 people here making Christmas lunch. I think we are so safe in that department, right?
Right. So the bar height will remove that element. It's not an island because it's connected, right? But the bar will remove that element of it being an island style.
Got you.
You know?
Okay, well, I will.
The renders.
Because we now know. I learned it is better to plan on paper.
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And correct on paper. And the nice thing is that you'll send both, and we can all take a look.
Right.
But thank you for pointing out the pros and cons, because to me, all of the study was the height of the stool. And they were
right. Well, I thank Dwellings too for pointing that out to you for that option, because it never even crossed my mind to offer it to you. It never did. I mean, from the time I put the plan, I was just thinking one elevation and stuff. Especially knowing now that the bar stools are available, because that plays a part. You cannot have a bar with you'll be too low. And
you just look squeezed out. You know, you'll be hanging over.
Exactly.
All right, good. We move in. All right. So you say you got to measure now to make sure we got exact measurements.
Yeah, and we get to go.
All right. Well, do your thing.
All right.
And we will watch.
Cool. Good.
All I want now is a mango, and to sit down here and see who it is that crossing up and down the road when the evening comes. Y'all got a full show, okay? Y'all got a full show. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time. I'm Kelly Johnley, and this is Bajan Renovation.